Good evening, everybody. And I hear a good evening at least from you guys who are online. Can you
Good
unmute?
evening, sir.
Ah, only one. I
Good
can.
evening, sir.
Ah, 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 ah.
Good evening.
Ah,
Good evening,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
okay, okay, okay. Good, good, good. In fact, I'm a bit. Camera bit make. Ipone daga mudu. That's easy. Huh? Ah. Okay. Uh, you see the way that things have changed over the last several years. And recently, I was at a event here, and one of the very prominent CEOs of a very prominent IT company was the guest speaker. And she said she has stopped all online activities because they want people to attend in person. I know it's difficult, it's challenging, but that's also something that you have to learn to be as engineers. Now, I'm going to play a few videos. I hope you hear these videos and see these videos. If you are not getting the video stream, just raise your voice, unmute your mic, and say. Just look at this first video, and it's a kind of a video to relax. While relaxing, observe all the movements, and I'm going to ask you questions. Okay? Here we go. That's a chat. I don't know what is the chat. Okay, what is it? Not hear anything, sir. Now you can hear, right? I'm sure everyone can hear something. Okay, good. So, what do you think about the video? Was it entertaining? Now I'd like those guys who are online, please feel free, absolutely free to unmute your mic and speak up when I want you to speak. Even if two or people speak, it's okay. Still, it's okay. All right? So feel free and please answer these questions. Was it entertaining? What was it? Was it entertaining? Yes or no? There were two
No,
guys.
sir.
Huh?
No, it was not. It was not.
Yes.
Someone said no. Not entertaining. Is it correct?
Uh,
Not
the,
entertaining.
I
No.
mean, for me, the music was not continuous or something. I don't know whether it is because of
Music was not what? I didn't hear you.
for me, it was not entertaining because it was not properly like orchestrated, I would say. That would be the reason. I don't know whether it
Uh-huh.
was the answer that was meant.
Did the people online hear the whole music? Yes or no?
Uh,
Hello? You heard the music or
we
not?
could see, but again, the noise was not clear enough, I would say.
That's a bit of a problem. You have to ask the Chamara to come again, right? And I'm not going to play it again, right? For sake of time, I'm not going to play it again. There are two guys here. What do you think? Was it entertaining or not? Was it entertaining? Was it entertaining? Was it entertaining? Yeah, there are two guys here who say entertaining, and some guys they are say it's not so entertaining. I'm sorry, I can't be reading all your. Someone wants us to raise the volume, so please bear with me. I'll have to call someone and get that done. And sorry, do you hear me clearly? Do you hear me clearly? Please speak up.
Yes, sir.
You hear me clear, right? So the problem was with the interplay, right? With the video. Okay, right. I can't be taking too much of time because last time I ran out of time by talking to you too much. So I'll get through with the presentation. Why I showed that to you, because for lack of a good in situ audience, I can't be asking a lot of questions. I also, so right, who can see the messages recording on? Yeah, please don't send chat, right? Someone said not hear anything. Jayasuriya. Uh, am I audible now? Jayasuriya, please speak up. I mean, that's pointless me talking to everybody, and if you don't hear me and understand me, it's useless, right? So there are so many messages coming up, but I don't like saying, please raise the volume. I think Sanjeev, you ask someone to come and raise the volume. Yeah, please don't send chats, right? If you want to speak, just like in a class, please speak. So I can't be looking at the chat, and also speaking to you, and also handling this monstrous screen, right? So I'm sure you can see the screen. Uh, and there's a complaint that they don't hear. Is the volume still a problem to everybody, or is it only one person? There are 28 people, right? At least 28 people online. Can I hear assurance from you guys? Others, do you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, good. So I'll proceed. If someone says that he can't hear, please check your volume also, and I'll try to do my best. And there's someone monitoring my presentation in ISL, so they will also give me a feedback, right? Okay. Sanjeev, get it monitored, and if there's a problem, let me know, right? So, which now I proceed this way, right? So I could finish my talk on the video. There were, I don't want to ask you questions. There were 7 people, and all 7 of them were different, right? Some were dressed very formally, some were dressed very shabbily, some were dressed with kind of funny clothes, red blouse and white shirt. I sort of visualize them like a group of engineers, right? And there was a group of 7. Each of them had a role to play. And each of them played that role very well. And that's why you saw the audience clapping like mad. They were cheering. So they were highly entertaining. How did that happen? And synchronism was marvelous. And even the last guy who came and did something very mystical, right? Added some color. And it showed that that guy was playing in the air, right? So I'm some kind of visualization of that. And this is exactly what the engineers are supposed to do. We are varied, we have various talents, we all put our action together. And more than anything else, my dear friends, more than anything else, each of them stretch their talents to the maximum. They came out of the comfort zone. They came out of the comfort zone. This is exactly what the engineers are supposed to do. You have to get out of the comfort zone, right? You get out of the comfort zone and perform together like an orchestra to deliver something useful to the people. I don't have all the time in the world to go on discussing about what we have to do to the people. I'll be touching on that. Before I start anything, I want to share with you some of my very favorite quotes, videos, quotes, and anecdotes. You just saw one video, right? My first quote is from a book gifted to me by the author called Arup Roy Chowdhury. There was a screen on the other side, Sanjeev. If I can see that, it's much better, right? Ask him to put that also, right? Gifted to me by an author called Arup Roy Chowdhury, whom I met in India in 2012 to 2014. And he was the managing director of the National Thermal Power Corporation of India, which had more than 300,000 employees. And he has a reputation of heading one of the biggest Indian corporations at the age of 33 years. And I believe he would have been about 55 years, right? And he has written this wonderful book called Management by Idiots. Management by Idiots. So he knows what he's talking about, right? He's a manager himself. So from that, I'm taking this quote, right? If you don't blow your own trumpet, others will use it as a spittoon. Spittoon is padikama. These days, you don't know, hardly people know what padikama is. Those days, people used to have a beetle, to the beetle, and they chuggala gahana kila to the padikam. Right? That's padikam. In Tamil, we call it padikam. Right? So, if you don't blow your own trumpet, because the trumpet and the padikam had the same kind of a outlook, with a big round, on top. So others will make it a padikam. What about you? Yeah, he's talking about you, right? You don't blow your own trumpet. Well, what do you mean by blowing your own trumpet? අපි කියන්නේ ණය දානවා කියලා. ඒක නෙමෙයි, ඒක නෙමෙයි. පාම්බු නෙමෙයි. Right? ණය දානවා නෙමෙයි. You have to make your worth, value, felt. That's what you mean by blowing your own trumpet. Very often when I was small, when I was young, as a young engineer, I have heard from many people saying, engineers are useless. They don't know anything. They know nothing. They don't talk. In a way, that's correct. In a way, that's correct. Now, I don't know how many of you will guess what my age. I'm 69 years old today. And I have had about 44 years of professional life up to date. So which means I've been associated with a multitude of engineers. I was the general manager Ceylon Electricity Board, where I had when I was there, I had 16,800 employees under me, and I was the president of the Institute of Engineers Sri Lanka. At that time, I had about 15,000 members, and I have been going all over the country, meeting engineers, especially Sri Lankan engineers. So I had to agree to a certain extent that we engineers don't talk much. You may be thinking that is a modest. Now, we don't like people who are talking too much. But at the same time, we also do not like people who don't talk as well. Just put yourself in my position. I ask you a question. I told you, I gave you the freedom to unmute your mic and speak up. Hardly anyone speaks. A couple of them spoke. Maybe three at most. Please feel free to speak. If you don't agree with me, that will be the best thing that I can, best feedback I can get from you. Right? So we have to speak up when it is required. I'm going to have a special slide on that as well. Speak when you have to speak. If you don't speak, others will speak. And you go home and take it on your family. Shit. යකා දන්නෙත් නෑ මොනවා කීවද මන් දන්නේ නැගිටලා ඌ මොනවද කිව්වේද දන්නේ නැත්නම් why didn't you get up and speak? We don't speak. We allow others to speak. We allow others to dominate. Even the things that we know, we allow others to dominate. And then we come home and complain and complain and complain. The administrators are doing this, the administrators are doing that, the accountant is talking nonsense, the finance manager is talking nonsense, the managers are talking bullshit. Sorry for that word. But why do they talk? Because you don't talk. So talk when it is required to talk, not babble. But speak when it is required to speak. Right? So this is the picture that was there. And there's a beautiful, interesting story. I'm not going to talk about that because that's going to take a lot of time. So let's go ahead. There's also a story that I would like to share with you. Hope you don't mind that anyway. There are a few girls also, but anyway, still never mind. I don't see the girls also. It's a bit of embarrassing for me to say that, but still I'll say that. So I was in Washington, D.C. at one point, where the ambassador was, that famous ambassador, I just forgot the name, right? Stanley Stanley Kalpake, right? Stanley Kalpake, yeah, okay, if I'm not mistaken. He almost became the Secretary General of United Nations. The only Sri Lankan who went to the topmost position in the UN system, and he unfortunately he could not become the UN Secretary General. He could have. A lot of people supported him. Unfortunately, there was a lot of politics going on, and uh, and he couldn't become the Secretary General. Right. So when we went there, fortunately, uh, Stanley Kalpage was the ambassador. He invited us for dinner, but there were some important people among us. And after dinner, he is a very jovial guy, very cool man. There was a picture in his sitting room playing the trumpet. He's a very well established saxophonist, playing with Bill Clinton. Apparently, this guy and Bill Clinton have been the same batch in the United States of America. Right? So he had both of them have been playing the trumpet. So he was just saying a joke, right? This absurd joke. He said one day a minister from Sri Lanka came in his national dress, and after a few drinks, he was a bit too much, and Bill Clinton played the trumpet. And after playing the trumpet, you keep it on a stand. Just look at the stand of a trumpet in the internet, the beautiful piece of woodwork, and this trumpet stands like this. Okay. So after some time, this our minister is exactly bullshit, right? He was telling nonsense, but he was joke. And while going around looking for the loo, washroom, and he suddenly sees this. He goes and eases himself to the trumpet, right? Of course, everybody laughing. So that I don't think it would have been correct. It would have been a true story. Right. In very old Hindu scriptures, I like a lot of Hindu scriptures, right? As much as Buddhist scriptures, right? You find this. They are called Vedic scriptures, and the Vedic scriptures they say is what 3 to 4,000, at least 3 to 4,000 years old, written on clay tablets. But they say the rishis, right? And some people have even got to the extent of saying these are not only 3 to 4,000 years old, these are about 10 to 12,000 years old. Who knows what? We don't know, but still they are very well written scriptures and a lot of good lessons for their life. Okay, this is from the Rig Veda. When there is harmony between mind, heart, and resolution, three things: mind, heart, and resolution, then there's nothing is impossible. I firmly believe in this. I firmly believe in this. And you engineers must also agree with me. I'm going to show you a few things. Right? I have done the impossible. I'm blowing my own trumpet. I've done the impossible in my life, in my career of 44 years. If I can do, why can't you do? Right? If I can do, why can't you do? Mind is I reason out. I reason out the solution. Heart means my passion, my emotion. I must be committed. I must be sort of bonded to my solution. We are solving all the time. We are solving problems, right? So I think about it. I find a solution. I have to be believe in my own solution. Then that is not enough. That's not enough. You must be resolute, resolution, resolved. Under whatever circumstances, I am going to do this. I am going to implement this. If you don't believe, you just wait for a few minutes. You just wait for a few minutes. I'm going to prove what I'm saying. Nothing is impossible. I do believe in this. The first two videos are entertaining, or at least one is entertaining. And the second one, you begin to see that I do believe nothing is impossible. So, my dear friends who are online, and as well as these two guys, Never say no. Never say no. Right. Let's see this video. Age is just a number. There are many such things. There are so many things that I want to show you. If you are stunned, look at this. I was 63 years old when I did that. And my wife did not speak to me for 1 week. You know why? Just you remember 2018, a lady principal fell from that place and died. I knew that. It's my sheer desire to do that. A lot of my staff, there's a staff training, went up, they cried and came down, including boys, young boys. They cried and came down. You think it's fun, but when you go up, you start shivering, right? So nothing is impossible. Nothing is resolution. Nothing is impossible. I hope you will agree with me now, right? Now the last video for the day, listen to the words that this guy, Lee Kuan Yew, is saying. I'm sure most of you know who Lee Kuan Yew is. He's been talked about many times. He's Sri Lankan politics there in Singapore now, right? We always talk good of other people, and let's see. Listen to these words very carefully, yeah? I'm sure some of you may have heard that and seen quite a number of videos that are going on these days about Lee Kuan Yew and his successors and all the good work that they have done, the systems they have established. Don't try to draw parallels with Sri Lanka, right? Even recently, there's something parallel. Yes, recently a minister was sacked in Singapore, right? So this is the kind of vigor they have. I'm sure most of you would have watched this, but it shows the character of Lee Kuan Yew. Singapore was thrown out of Malayan Kingdom in 1965. In his own words, Singapore was a swamp. My first visit to Singapore was in 1982. And even when I went there were kids running around in streets, like slummy streets, sometimes without clothes, right? And the Singapore was not that clean. Of course, the city was very clean. But just when you go out of out of the city, some places were still very dirty, right? But see where it is now. See where it is now, right? All because of one man and the system he established, the discipline. Singapore was full of gangsters. He said he had few millions of people to account for. What can we learn from this man? Remember this. This is the person who is supposed to have said in 1965, I will make Singapore like Ceylon, our country. Because as most of you know, when you got independence, you're only next to Japan. Only next to Japan. Right? So you have spoiled the whole thing out. You have missed something somewhere. I would say he was a man of immense courage who never looked back on his mission. I'm bringing some of these traits, on his mission. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Oh, whatever. Sorry. Oh, yeah. He was a man of immense courage. Who never looked back on his mission, firm of his conviction, stayed focused, stayed away from those who did not fall in line with commitment to rebuild the nation. He never saw it with the people who were negative, who said no to him. did not serve everyone with the same spoon. There are a lot of complaints about him. He did not serve everyone with the same spoon. We very often hear people, Sri Lankans saying, right? We serve everyone the same spoon. That's also saying that if you try, I'm talking to a group of engineers, right? With my own experience in engineering, I'm speaking about profession. There is also saying that if you try to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one. I do firmly believe this. You can't be pleasing everybody. You do try to do that, you end up pleasing no one. We have always heard this, no? Mama hamotama bedanne ekama hande. How does it come in Sri Lanka in Tamil? அனைவருக்கும் ஒரே கரண்டியால் சேவை செய்கிறேன். I serve everyone with the same spoon. I think most of you agree, right? You have to serve everyone with the same spoon. See what happens. 3 vessels, same spoon. What happens with the 3 vessels? Right? For this person, what you have served, he cannot accept. It's too much for him. For this person, what you have served or try to do with him is not enough. He has so much of capability, capacity. And for this man, of course, he'll just try. So therefore, as engineers, we learn all these, keep all these things in your head. We are traditional people. We are Sri Lankan. We have a lot of give and take, This is where we have gone wrong, unfortunately, our culture. All right, okay. I'm extremely sorry. This system is not that perfect. I hope everybody can hear me again. And line එක out වෙනවා මේ සංජීව කවහරි වන්න මෙතන තියලා ඉන්නේ. I'm sorry, friends. Do you hear me now? Do you
Yes,
hear
sir.
me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The system is sometimes going out. Right? There is a lot to learn from people of this caliber. And this is one of my favorite quotes. Right? I am thankful for all those who said no to me. It is because of them I'm doing it myself. None other than the best brain that is supposed to have been there, having 160 IQ, and there's supposed to be a Sri Lankan girl who's like 166 cycling in America, right? Go to Sri Lankan prayer. Let's see whether she'll become a better Einstein, right? So he can't be wrong. I'm thankful for all those who said no to me. It's because of them I'm doing it myself. You hear me well, friends over on the online? You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, coming back to me, blowing my own trumpet. The Upper Kotmale hydropower project, I did it all by myself. Starting from scratch. The feasibility studies commenced in 1992. I was in charge. It was rejected by the Central Environmental Authority. The Japanese were ready to fund it in 1995. They came with the loan agreements to sign. I still remember the date was 5th of February. And before the 5th of February 1992, 95, you had to give the clearance. And just before that, I think maybe somewhere 25th or 26th of January 1995, they killed the project. They killed the project. The Central Environmental Authority killed the project. I'm saying this very boldly. We fought. I single-handedly fought. I fought and fought and fought. Went through hell. There were court cases. There were seminars. There were people trying to uh, sling mud at me. There are posters in all over the place saying that I am getting commissions from this, that, and the other. Mud slinging at plenty. I stayed focused. This project is 150 megawatts. If those who go to Talwakal, you can see that the dam. Cost was approximately 40 billion Sri Lankan rupees. Started in 1992, as I told you, was stalled due to protests on environmental, social, and political grounds. In 2002, finally we managed to get the money. I managed to get money, right? Almost 10 years after, 1992. After you got money, all hell broke loose. Those who may remember will remember late Mr. Tondamon, right? Carried out a campaign to stop this project. The government caved in. They almost cancelled the project. 1992. I'm not saying who the leaders are. Go and look for them. Right? They almost cancelled the project. After getting the money from Japan, I did not give up. I did not give up. Right? And the project was stalled on political grounds, finally. Finally, it commenced in 2006. And one Mr. Ida, who was in charge of the 1992 funding in JICA, when he came to sign the loan, he said, when he went back from Sri Lanka, he thought this project will never be a reality. It was almost an impossible task. There are even CB engineers who were bringing mud and at me and telling, until Singalan kiwe Xavier retire වෙනකන් ඕක කරන්න. මුදලාට retire වෙන කලින් කරා. I stayed focused. Let me see how I did it. Finally commenced in 2006 and completed 2012. Right? How did I do? Apokotpura hydropower project. How did I do it? My guiding light was a quotation from the Bible. If you know what is right to do and not doing is a sin. You know, I'm sure in Buddhism also you have certain scriptures that say that. If you know what is right, you have to do it. It's not good enough not doing sins. That's not good enough. If you know what is right to do, you have to do it. Who else is going to do it? Right? I knew doing Upper Kotmale hydropower project was the right thing to do. I did not want to be a sick. I didn't. So I did it, notwithstanding. I did it, notwithstanding any obstacle, any impediment. No one believed that I will do it with so much opposition. The Tondavan, once he summoned us to the parliament, and at a parliament meeting, he said, if you again come back to, if you come again to Talawakale, I'll break your legs. My legs are still there and he's gone. The house that I was living in Talawakale, fortunately or unfortunately, that day I was not in the house, was set on fire. It was a very old house. It belonged to the chairman of the workers complex. All the furniture was wooden. Sole area was wooden. That way I would have slept upstairs. There are two boys. The two boys got out of by breaking the windows. Nobody did anything. Nobody did anything. The fire was doused. The fire was doused by itself. Nobody knows what happened. All what happened was all the there's a call, right? All the curtains are burned. All the polish in the wooden were crumbled, roasted. The refrigerator was like a ball of plastic. No major damage. He tried to kill me. Right? There were several attempts on my life. Once there was only my drive will know. A fellow came with a huge crowbar to hit me. I went straight to him. I looked at his eyes directly. He could do anything. I'm not a superman. I'm a very weak man. Right? So I did it notwithstanding any obstacle, any impediment. No one believed that I will do it with so much opposition. So some even wished that I failed. I thank them all. What is the recipe? It is because everyone said I will not do it. So I did it. I stayed focused and was not swayed by the noise around. There were many decisions of the cabinet to do it. The next decision is not to do it. To do it, not to do it. The cabinet. Our cabinet. The last decision says rescind all the previous decisions. And if I was a negative man, I would have said, okay, rescind all the previous decisions. I can't do it. I'll be found fault with by the cabinet. Fortunately, just then the government changed. I continued ignoring the cabinet decision. I did ignoring the cabinet decision. The last decision was to rescind all previous decisions to do it. I ignored it. Still I am surviving. Had faith in God. The person who wrote the cabinet decision was my greatest supporter later, a government servant, top public servant. He wrote the cabinet decision. Then the government changed and he started supporting me. His first visit was to Apakotpally. And he said, I've been appointed to help you. I thank my Apakotpally staff who only had faith in me. Now I turn to engineering. What is engineering? It's the professional part. I gave you the preamble, right? Who is an engineer? What do you expect to do as an engineer? Are you prepared to face the challenges of engineering education? Gain experience, and become a fully qualified professional engineer. Most of you, all of you have finished the engineering education. That's not going to end, right? You want to get more and more educated. That's fine. But they are challenging. You are getting experience in challenge. Then you have to become a fully professionally qualified engineer, which you are aiming at. I'm about to sit for the B paper with the hope that you will become a fully qualified professional engineer. Not going to be easy. There's a man by the name Herbert Clark Hoover, right? An American. And this American guy, young man, those days, to cross the Atlantic from London to New York, it took about 3 months on a steamer. Steamer is steamship. And he was occupying a first class cabin. Herbert Clark Hoover. And along with him, there were so many people in the first class, very few people. Only the wealthy could afford to go in the first class. Right? There was a lady, British lady. Right? If you know what British ladies are, they're very snobbish. They don't walk looking at the commoners. They walk with their chin up and nose up. Right? And they wear huge skirts. You know why they wear huge skirts? So that no commoner will ever get anywhere near them. And even if someone of their choice want to shake hands, they only shake hand by stretching the hand, and they can only touch the tips of the fingers. Right? Nothing more. Right? So there was a first class British lady traveling with him. So they would have been 3 months, right? They've been talking together, playing cards together, maybe dancing together, drinking wine together. And they came to the last breakfast. And they could see the New York harbor yonder. This is a book, right? By this man. I'm taking from that. And while they were sitting, this lady had a serious urge to ask him a question. Usually with a lot of people, I ask what the question was. If there are only two people. Can any one of you tell me what the question that she asked? Anybody? In the audience also, online. What did she ask? What are the questions she would have asked this young man? No idea. No idea. Very funny, yeah? Very funny. Young man don't know what to ask a young lady. Right? These two people are giggling. I don't know what you are going to say. Anybody want to unmute and say what you want to say? The lady asked, I hope you will forgive my dreadful curiosity, but I should like to awfully to know. This is how the medieval English is, right? They don't ask direct questions. Even if you meet Britishers now, sometimes they don't ask direct, they don't tell direct things, right? Like, what is your name? They'll ask something else, right? Are you hungry? Aren't you? All kinds of convoluted sentences. That is the British English. Americans, they talk direct, right? The Britishers are still like that. So the lady asked, I hope you will forgive my dreadful curiosity, but I should like to awfully to know. What is the question? What is your profession? Right? And what did he say? I'm an engineer. You think what the lady would have grabbed him and given him a hug? Just the opposite. Her face fell and she snapped back at this young man and said, the lady's face fell. She snapped back and said, aha, aha, I thought you were a gentleman. I thought you were a gentleman. Now, these days, what will happen if you say you're an engineer? Right? Girls will come behind you, right? So those days, the engineers were smelling. They wore overalls. They had dirty hands. They were rough. They were tough. Spoke often in filth. Had very bad mannerisms. Therefore, not recognized in the society. Now, I joined the Ceylon Electricity Board, the CEB, way back in 1979. When I joined, there were engineers who were like this. Most of the engineers came in short shoes, stockings. And some of them had bastama. You know what a bastama is? Walking stick. Why did they have bastama? Those days, if you go to the upcountry plantations, you see the planters also in shorts, shoes, stockings, and bastama. Not now anymore. Why did they have the bastama or the walking stick? Not because they couldn't walk. Why? Any idea? When they go to a workshop, what do? They only had knew how to shout at people. Now you go ahead to a workshop and shout at people, they'll throw you at something. Right? They used to shout at people. Yako was the best word that they can ever use. Yako. Boban tamai. Palang, nevaring. And Vasta we used to hit. They didn't like what they were doing. Right? Of course, I have not seen them hitting, right? At least to scare the people. So engineers are not recognized in society. But now, engineers are very well recognized in society. We have clean hands. Too clean. They have perfume. So we had to attract girls, right? Good mannerism. The society look up to them. The society look up to them. But the question is, do we live up to the expectations of the society? That is the key that I am going to talk to you today. Does the society look up to you as real professionals? Let's see. So incidentally, that young man was the only engineer who went on to become the president of United States of America. If you ever go to America, there's a very famous, iconic bridge called a dam, Hoover Dam and Hoover Bridge, right? A lot of stories about the Hoover Bridge, Hoover Dam. I'm not going to go into detail. So civil engineers can look up about the Hoover Dam, the iconic structure in US, built after the engineer, only engineer. So now getting into more theory. Who is an engineer? It's taken straight from the Wikipedia. An engineer is a professional practitioner of engineering. Obviously. Nothing to say about that. Concerned with applying scientific knowledge, mathematics, and that's not enough, ingenuity, to develop solutions for technical problems. Engineers design material, structures, machines, and they design systems while considering the limitations imposed by practicality, safety, and cost. It also had the word environment. The word engineer is derived from the Latin root ingenium. That means cleverness. You and I, guys, are clever. Never underestimate your cleverness. If you are not clever, you would have been an engineer. You have been someone else. You guys are clever. So keep remembering that. The problem is sometimes we don't remember that we are clever. That's the bad part of the whole. Engineers are grounded in applied sciences, and their work in research and development is distinct from the basic research focus of scientists. The work of engineers forms the link between scientific discoveries and the applications that meet the needs of society. There are few keywords. We are grounded in applied sciences. Not basic science, right? Not pure science. I was the chairman of another prestigious engineering institution. And there was an engineer with a doctorate. The doctorate. And he would have had about at least 25 years experience as an engineer. One day they were designing a kiln for curing calicut tiles, not calicut tiles, these tiles that are laid on the roof. I mean, Vaikal, you have this large number of factories. Calicut tiles, no? I don't know if the calicut tile is the round one or the with the modern one. Called Rataulu, right? Singular. So he brought me the design, and along with the design, he brought me a technical paper he had written and published in an engineering forum in a very prestigious university in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. Very prestigious. I'm not telling the names, huh? So don't worry. I looked at the paper. He's talking about reducing the moisture content of what? Wet clay. Now, when I looked at the paper, he's talking about, don't laugh, huh? I'm always saying that I will show this paper on screen. I failed to do that because after this I forget it. I'll somehow fish that and put it next time. That had the moisture content of whatever number. You know how many decimal places? How many decimal places? Moisture content of clay. Decimal places. I'm talking decimal places in a technical paper. How many? What will you write if you say moisture content of clay? How many decimal places? I'm just asking you, not the value. How many places will you put? Decimal places. How
Only
many?
one.
Huh? Sorry?
Only one.
Only one.
Only
You?
one.
Two. One or two maximum, right? Hold your breath. He had 11 decimal places. And this paper has been published in a prestigious university in Sri Lanka at an engineering forum. I saw start. I felt like throwing the paper at his face with a doctorate. And from where did you get this number? I was visibly mad at him. Those are computer numbers. Come on. Does it mean anything to you? 11 decimal places as a percentage? That is 30 decimal places, right? To remove the 100. What nonsense is this? An engineer with a doctorate and at least 25 years experience. I'm teaching these days. I tell the students, don't put anything more than 2 decimal places. Still some students put about 5 or 6 decimal places. Why? That number comes out in the calculator. See how we still are not focusing at engineering. And for me, I used to always ask this question. I'm not sure whether you see this on the screen. I have 500 milliliter water bottle. I ask them what is the weight of this? 100 grams, plus or minus 2-3 grams, 5 grams. But if you ask a scientist to tell the value of the weight of this bottle of water of 500 milliliters, he'll give me 10 decimal places. How? He'll go into analysis. How many ions, how many molecules of H2O, how many molecules of D2O, how many molecules of T3O, right? And so on and so on. They'll analyze the plastic, get the molecular weight, add them up. That's the exact answer. That's what a scientist will do. But we engineers are practical people. Where you do it practical numbers, useful numbers. They are good things for you to keep in mind. So sometimes I feel sad. You're some experienced engineers. I'm not only talking about that guy who was an idiot in my own eyes. I've also seen some other reputed papers coming up with unnecessary number of decimals. It doesn't contain any meaning, has any meaning. So finally, therefore, the central focus of engineering profession is the application of scientific knowledge, including mathematics, that meets the societal needs, right? So this sandwich, it looks like, I also used to ask what this looks like. Many people say various things. Eyeball, rugger ball, right? All kinds of leaves, they give a lot of meanings. I will tell you, for you to keep in mind what engineering is all about. What engineering is all about is something very common that we love to eat. I love Italy. Either Italy or Paripuade. Right? It's Paripuade. So engineering is all about Paripuade. Something useful, something practical, something that will satisfy most of the people. Paripuade. So try to be a Paripuade to the people. Not anything else, but backed up by scientific knowledge, meeting the needs of society. That's the key to engineering. Finally, not finally, right? Incidentally, we are human beings, right? Yeah, our own traits. Some of us are very creative. Some of us are very analytical. So this is inbuilt into our character. Some of us are analytical, some of us are creative, especially engineers. We have both these characters, some to a great extent, some to a lesser extent. Some who are having both, like this intersection. Right? And finally, let's put all of them together. Okay, for example, as engineers apply commercial software to the solutions of an engineering problem, the application of analytical skills per se may involve very little or no creativity, because you get into a computer program, put in some numbers, get out the solution, your creativity is not there. Someone else has done the whole coding. You're only using that code. Codification. You get an output. With all this AI coming in, your creativity is zero. Perhaps. Right? On the other hand, an engineer may design an ergonomic office space with very little analytical skill. You know what ergonomics is? Ergonomics is designed for maximum comfort, efficiency, safety, and ease of use, especially in the workplace. Your analysis may say, this, that, and the other. These are the dimensions of your building. These are dimensions of your columns. But when you want to design an ergonomic office space, at certain times, engineers are called upon to do that. Your creativity should surpass all the analytical outputs. If your analysis says right in the center you have to have a huge column in auditorium, what good is an auditorium? That is why I still appreciate and admire some of our forefathers like engineers of the like of engineer Kula Singh. I was the chairman of the Nerd Center. You go there, he has specialized in what you call geodetic right design with no columns. There are two huge buildings in Nerd Center with no column. I think there he was also instrumental in designing the Kalutara, that Chaitya, right? So people have come out with beautiful designs. That is where your creativity, enmeshed with analytics, comes into play, right? Hence, let us now look at engineering from these perspectives. Not a mesh. So you are still having the engineer, the Paripwade. Don't forget the Paripwade, yeah? That's engineering. And some of us have a lot of analytical traits. Some of us have a lot of creative traits. Some of us have both of analytics and creativity. Right? I know of an engineer who worked with me. He never used to leave his stable. A very conscientious engineer. He was even a little bit elder to me. Very experienced man. Top class design engineer. Right? Top class designing. His designs are well known. Once he was designing a road. Right? Once he was designing a road. In the middle of nowhere. Actually, there were a few houses around in a village. It's happened in Napakotale, right? And the road design was there. And he has never been to the site. There are about 12 houses in the whole stretch. A bit of a jungle area, sparsely populated. All 12 houses were getting broken. Some houses in the front, some houses in the back, some houses in the middle. And he was insisting that his design is correct. He was insisting that his design was correct. It came to me. Someone came and told me people are protesting that all the houses are getting broken here and there. I tried to convince him that he had to redesign the road. He never agreed with me. I was the project director. I removed him. I had to remove him from that road. And someone else designed the road. No one got affected by that road. In fact, that road is, you go there, I'll not tell anything. You ever happen to go to the Apakotole power station, you'll be traveling on that road. Right? I'm proud to say, sorry, I'm humble in Adaranami. They have named the road after me. My name is there. I never asked for it. I never asked them to put my road name. I put my name on that road. Not a single house was broken. In fact, saw a lot of new nice houses have come up on that road. It was former jungle. And there were divyas. When you went there were leopards in that area. Three aspects of engineering. Sector A represents the intersection of purely analytical talents with engineering within the engineering domain. This may be used to represent the engineering science and ability to model complex systems and predict their response to various inputs under various conditions. This segment of engineering has, of course, been the subject of intense development over the last half century and has benefited most directly from the availability of fast digital computers. And with AI, that's no limit. That's analytical. Sector C, creative guys. The intersection of our creative capacity with the engineering domain can be viewed as representing those sudden intuitive leaps, often responsible for revolutionary advances in technology called significant novelty, as well as those aspects of engineering not yet fully supported by engineering science that remain more an art than science. You require that kind of people, not too much. The whole place will be fantasy, and sometimes the structures will start failing. No. They're also engineers, right? So though they cannot sometimes explain how they got that answer, it's the sheer creativity of that man who puts something out. Then he tried to find the theory to support that. I'm not saying they're stupid. Huh? You require this kind of people who think out of the box, come out with innovative design. You see a lot of innovative designs now in Colombo. I have been to Japan, and when you go to Tokyo, there's a tour, cruise on a river. There are about 38 bridges on this river cruise. It's a very famous cruise in Tokyo. We take about 2 hours, and there are about 38 bridges. Not a single bridge looks the same. Some look like wooden bridges, some look like steel bridges, some look like ancient bridges. Just imagine, man. 38 bridges looking different. Isn't that creativity at its best? So don't feel shy to say that you are a creative guy. Because engineers sometimes feel shy to come out of with their own imagination. But definitely, my dear friends, remember, they should be well founded in science and mathematics. You can't have anything without science and mathematics as engineers. What A is full of science and mathematics. Addresses the needs of society. Let's look at the B section. Sector B, the intersection of knowledge of science and mathematics and needs of society with both creative and analytical capabilities. They can be used to represent the engineering design and much real world problem solving. This sector includes activities ranging from developing innovative products and processes to creating an innovative bridge design to developing a new control process for petrochemical production or whatever. Right? So we are all engineers. Some of us may fall into the category of A. We need them to do high level calculations and come out with beautiful, durable designs. You also need highly analytical people who can come out with innovative solutions. I require B category engineers who look at real world problem solving. And I say most of us, when you pass out, most of them fall into perhaps A, killing our own creativity. Then while working, you graduate with your own traits and fall into one of these categories. And most of us end up as managers belonging to category B. What about other sectors in the above figure? There are others, right? So if you look at this diagram very carefully, please try to get this presentation from the IESL. They are surrounded before, now with the engineering, that particular paripwadi interacts with the society also through category 1, 2, 3 people. They are also people. Now, who are these category 1, 2, 3 people? Sector 1, the intersection of analytical skills with societal needs outside the bounds of scientific knowledge, which means they are not scientists or mathematicians, might include economics and philosophy. The greatest philosopher known, Lord Buddha, he didn't do physics and chemistry and biology, but he addressed the needs of the society. He varied even today, after 2600 plus years. And along with him, so many other philosophers. Many sector 3, who are pure art-bound people, creative people, they also meet the needs of society. Right? Without them, the whole world will be very blank. If you are living somewhere in Colombo, come to Vihara Mahadevi in the morning on a holiday. The whole road on either side are full of art. Art by common people. Beautiful arts. Right? They make our life very interesting. Sector 2 may be used to represent the societal needs outside the bounds of scientific knowledge that required both analytical and creative skills. Perhaps including public policy. I have a whole chapter on public policy. I'm not going to deal with that today. No time. Business, administration, and music. Joannis, Tchaikovsky, or whatever. Right? They wrote notes on pieces of paper. With a creative mind and analysis coming in, knowing very well how the ear works, how the tongue works, how the instruments work. A lot of analysis has gone into writing music that are still available for centuries. Right? Engineers cannot ignore about very real issues in the society. Society needs all these people. Not only engineers. We think society should all honor and bow their heads to engineers. No, no, no. So engineers are creative problem solvers. I'm an electrical engineer. That's what I'll do in the evening. Not really. If you are in the jungle, you might do this. Of course, you have to carry a boat, can of beer. Right? Now I'm going to give you 3 different definitions of engineering. This on engineering profession, right? Try to understand everything that is written there. You will find that is where your mission is. That is where your destiny is. That is what you are supposed to do. Look around. Try to, I think most of you are at least 4 or 5 years in the industry, if not more. Start relating the theory to what you are doing in practice. Then you become better engineer. All what you had been doing, without knowing that these are defined. Now I'm trying to define. The Accreditation Board of USA is the largest single engineering body in the whole world. They boast they are not only precise, their presence is in America, but they are global. So they say 24/7 they are working, which means right around the globe they are working. That's true. The Accreditation Board of Engineering and Technology, ABET, of USA identifies engineering, but these are the best definition, as engineering as that profession in which knowledge of mathematical and natural sciences gained by study, experience, and practice is applied with judgment. Now the first word has come, judgment, to develop ways to utilize economically the materials and forces of nature. Gravity, tension, electromotive force, electrical fields, magnetic fields. They are forces of nature. And materials, economical. So we have no business to waste material. That's why we are engineers. We design things. If we don't have engineers, we'll call Basunni. So don't become Basunni. Become engineer. Right? A lot of examples to give. I'm sorry, I don't want to waste a lot of time. Last time I ran short of time. The keywords for the benefit of mankind. Remember the Paripwadi. Now, International Engineering Alliance, of which IESL is a member. And IESL is a prestigious member of IEA. One of the first few countries, not one of the first few, but among the first 15 or 20 countries, the whole world that joined the IEA. Not bad, huh? And it has 3 accords that deals with education, engineering education, and 3 agreements. What is important to us is the Washington Accord. I'm sure you have heard about Washington Accord. It sets a standard for engineering education. Then what is also important to us as engineers is International Professional Engineers Agreement. Now these days, a lot of people are trying to go out of the country. They come to me and get the paper signed to become an IP inch. IP inch, International Professional Engineer. IESL members can become IP inch. So what do they? It's an international engineering. IESL is a full signature of IEA, the full signature of Washington Accord, the provisional signature of Sydney Accord, the full signature of International Professional Engineers Agreement of the IEA. I'm talking about IESL. Huh? That's why you're striving to become a chartered member of the IESL. It has several accrediting bodies, so I'll skip this. I'll go to the definition. This is the best definition I ever seen about engineering. What does the International Engineering Alliance say? Engineering is an activity that is essential to meeting the needs of people, economic development, and the provision of services to society. Engineering involves the purposeful application of mathematical and natural sciences and a body of engineering knowledge. I'll come to the body of engineering knowledge in a moment. Technology and technique. Technology and techniques, 2 different things. Engineering seeks to produce solutions whose effects are predicted to the greatest degree possible in often uncertain contexts. That's why engineers are designers. While bringing benefits, look at the problem. Engineering activity has potential adverse consequences. While bringing benefits to society, has potential adverse consequences. Engineering therefore must be carried out responsibly and ethically. That is a module on ethics. Use available resources efficient, be economic, safeguard health and safety, be environmentally sound and sustainable, generally manage the risks throughout the entire life cycle of a system. I'm sure most of us engineers know this. The last line. Unfortunately, I've seen and worked. I've not worked overseas. I've worked in Sri Lanka with many overseas engineers. Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, Iranians, and so many other engineers. US, UK, Malaysians, Sri Lankans are the worst engineers. When it comes to risk taking and risk analysis and risk mitigation. I'm sorry to say this, but our work is not complete unless we manage the risks throughout the entire life cycle of a system. Just a couple of days ago, you saw what happened. Ulandawa Bridge. Ulandawa Bridge. Did they look at the risk or the life cycle of the bridge? We can't be happy. Can't be happy, my dear friends. I suggest that you read this, fully absorbing every word. If you want to be a good professional engineer, I recommend that at least 80% to 90% of every word. Of course, you can't be 100% engineers, right? No one is perfect. We have our own weaknesses. I would suggest still I would suggest you take this into very serious consideration. Your knowledge cannot be undermined. Your knowledge cannot be undermined. You can't make guesswork. Never make guesswork. Do calculation throughout your life. Right? And do a thorough risk analysis. You can't do it today and forget about the works that you did. See what happened to Hulandawa Bridge. See some of those pictures later. I'm not going to go into details. I'm going to only show some pictures of some tables of this IEA document. I suggest that you type in iea.com website. All these, there's a 11-page document about engineering practitioners. Since I do not have all the time in the world, I suggest that you take this book, the ebook publication, read at least what is relevant to engineers. There are 3 kinds of engineering practitioners. When we passed out, we thought they are the only engineers. I just realized it much later, there are other engineers as well. But we don't call them engineers. And we call them engineering practitioners. must also have due respect for them. Not that they must be our bosses. We are their bosses. But we should know who they are, what they are capable of. I suggest that you read all these uh, descriptions. I'll only read what is relevant to engineers under Washington Record. Apply knowledge of mathematical science, mathematics science, engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization as contained in WKM's Washington Accord knowledge attributes. When you pass out as an engineer, you should have had these knowledge attributes. Respective for the solution of complex engineering problems. This is the only difference between other categories of engineering graduates, of engineering practitioners. Engineers are required to solve complex engineering problems. What do you mean by complex engineering problems? Problems that you may not never have seen before. That's why you require creativity. That's why you require innovation. That's why you require deep knowledge in theory to solve complex engineering problems. Never give up studying. Never give up CPD. Things are changing very fast. The range qualify in several attribute statements uses the notion complex engineering problems. And the second category, who are the technologists, they are able to solve broadly defined engineering problems. And the technicians are able to solve well-defined engineering problems. I'll not go into details. Only I take this first gauge on the Washington Record, WP1, right? Problem solving capability of engineers. It clearly says to solve complex engineering problems cannot be resolved without in-depth engineering knowledge at the level of one of those blah, 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 knowledge attributes, which allows the most and the best phrases I ever know that describes engineers. Fundamentals based, first principles, analytical approach. Fundamentals based, first principles, analytical approach. Unfortunately, sorry to say, I am also teaching in two places. I used to teach at 4 universities. Now teaching in 2 places. The modern tuition culture has ruined all the engineering minds. They're always asking how to do this sum. What is the formula to use? Shortcuts. They have no knowledge of the problem that they are solving. Their fundamentals are very weak. I'm not blaming any one of you guys, either here or online. You have missed the bus. But the bus will not take you too far unless you have your fundamentals and the first principles. It's not too late for you to start. At least you have a small niche now. You're not required to study every gamut, because some of you don't need to study all this. But at least the job that you're doing, at least the specialization that you're specializing in, get to the bottom, get to the root, get to the fundamentals, get to the first principle. Then you will be a good engineer who will be looked up to be it in your jobs or be it in your acceptance. So the complex activities means activities or projects that have some or all of the following characteristics. EA1 to EA5 defines what the characteristic of a complex problem are. I suggest that you download this, look at it. This is where your professionalism can be further enhanced. And people will look up to you. I asked you the question. People expect so much from you. Do you fit to that specification? This will give you what kind of things you must do to fall into that specification. So I'll skip so many tables. All these are to the last definition, Engineering Council of UK. It talks of three categories once again. Engineering Council clarifies engineering technician, incorporated engineer or technologist or chartered engineer. Engineering technicians, I will not go into details. Engineering technologists, I will not go into details. Engineer, chartered engineers. This is what you are supposed to do after getting the charter, or even now. Are characterized by their ability to develop appropriate solutions to engineering problems using new or existing technologies through innovation, creativity, and change. They might develop and apply new technologies, promote advanced design and design methods, introduce new and more efficient production techniques, marketing, and construction concepts, or pioneer new engineering services and management methods. So once you become a chartered engineer, you are going to get into higher management. Chartered engineers are variously engaged in technical and commercial leadership and possess effective interpersonal skills. Right? The way you talk matters a lot. Engineering responsibility society, these are the last few slides, or that I'm going to skip. Engineers' inherent interaction with society and societal needs. You're working for society. You're working with the people. Civil engineers are working on roads, inconveniencing so much of public. Electrical engineers, we cut down trees and when you draw lines, people don't like it. We build reservoirs. We chase people away. So we interact with people all the time. Engineers' inherent interaction with society and societal needs leads naturally to an engineer's responsibility to society, which includes safety and welfare of the public and of clients. All these words are going to come in your engineering ethics. So this is the foundation for engineering ethics. Professional ethics. You will be thorough with the 8 clauses and 42 word rules. Right? Legal liabilities of engineers. Don't do something stupid, you'll be summoned to courts. I have been to courts, don't worry. I've been taken to court several times. Right? Okay. Environmental responsibility, quality, and communication. This is, though I put it last there, that should come really up right on top. Now, communication means not two-way communication, my dear friends, anymore. Not the love chat that you had with your girlfriend or boyfriend, not the chat that you have at home. As an engineer, there's a 4-way communication, not 2-way. You should be able to communicate with your boss upwards. Convince your boss superior. You should be able to communicate downwards to your subordinate. Never say උඹලා දන්නේ නෑ බං මේ කරපං. ඒවා කාලේ ගියා. They are also knowledgeable. They'll keep on coming and ask you questions. Question after question after question. Answer them. bosses, subordinates. Say, who are the others? Your peers, your peers. You should be able to discuss with your peers, your likes, your colleagues. Don't try to keep the what you call in Sinhala Guru Mushtiya. Share the knowledge with your peers. That is what I call that body of engineering knowledge. You remember the body of engineering knowledge earlier? Communicate with the peers. Not only communicate, write technical papers, publish them in the SLEN, publish them in the engineering journal. That's communicating with the peers. Three-way. What is the fourth? You are dealing with society. You are doing something to society all the time. You should be able to communicate to the stakeholders. So engineer's job is not two-way communication, not even three-way. It's four-way communication with your stakeholders. Sometimes they may become the most important. You may convince your boss. You may convince your subordinate. You may convince your peers. If the stakeholders don't agree with you, you had it. I had it. I overcame. So take it from me. Engineer's approach to problem solving. There are 6 elements that you have to look at in problem solving. Not only your compute and the compute output. Not only your report and the report output. Not only your calculation, the calculation output. Look at these 6 things. It is just as important that engineers first approach before problem solving. Ethical, safety, liability, environmental, quality, and communication issues that we discuss. In the first step of the problem solving, so all those 6 things have to be with you, in your blood. You start solving problems. You can't solve a problem and come and just put a magic and say, hey, Pesto, I got this. Nobody's going to accept it. Don't hide and do things. Be open. Discuss. Constantly develop your solution with all these 6 things in your mind. 5 of them may be right. Finally, if it is not ethical, it's going to cause cancer. It's going to cause hardships to people. It's not ethical. Drop it. Your solution may be the best solution in the world. If it's not ethical, don't do it. You have no business to do it. This allows engineers to address and analyze each element of the problem from the problem statement to the release of the product or service to the customer. This allows engineers to integrate the consideration of ethical and other concerns directly into the thinking process and to expand the alternative designs to potentially eliminate or reduce problems rather than simply to react to the problems later on. I thought I'll stop this. Other things are very straightforward. Please take a good look at the rest of it because I'm going to keep some of them and come out with some of the traits that engineers should have. So I'll first display all these things and read. Listen. When we were small, our parents told us we have 2 ears and 1 mouth to speak. First, listen with an open mind and speak up when required. Don't keep your mouth shut. Always in a talking mood and does not rush on words, but speak sense. Don't speak nonsense. And for you to speak sense, you should know your subject properly. Other people will laugh behind your back. As I told you about the four-way communication, very often when subordinates come and ask you something, if you don't have time to explain, what do you say? Ila karna ho? Can do it, man? They're asking questions. You know what they'll go and tell their peers? Arabala banguba. Pe bosa. Umugudanne. The bugger doesn't know. Sorry for using that word bugger. That's how they go and tell you about you. So finally, who is that lost? You have lost your face among the subordinates. Same with your peers. Same with your stakeholders. Same with your bosses. Speak sense. And for you to speak sense, you must have the knowledge. Write well. Write clearly and logical in writing. In whatever they write, fiercely careful about the accuracy. Now, I said I have about more than 40 years of experience in my public life. Wherever I go to a new branch, new division, new office, the first thing I ask my engineer, is there anyone who is weak in English? English is not our mother tongue. As a Tamil singular, right? So we are learning English properly. I have sent many young engineers and even old engineers. The oldest engineer I have ever sent for a training program is when you are 57 years old. There are many courses. The British Council, the SLEDA, and so many places are there. You talk Colombo, the diploma courses. Enroll yourself for a good English course. Right? In our homes, we don't speak English. It becomes mother tongue, right? It's a very few people. So English is not coming to us very automatically. We are learning through the hard way. So if you have not had a good English education, even now it's not too late. Enroll yourself for English class. Many of my juniors have come and almost worshipped me and said, thank you very much, sir, for sending me for the English class. Do go that extra mile and learn English properly. Because when you don't write properly, not only people have bad opinion about you, even your own organization, they look bad upon that. Good manners, be courteous, well-mannered. Dress well for the occasion. Nah? When you go for a party, I don't expect you to go in a proper dress. You go the way you like. Your head can be anything. You can wear even a wig or something and go. I don't care. Going for a business meeting, be properly dressed. Read well. If you don't read well, your output is very bad. Work hard. And nothing to substitute working hard. Are you ready to face the challenge? I used to ask this question. This is what it is. You may think you have a huge problem to solve. But look at that fellow with the confidence. But there are two key things. Two key things. When you want to face the challenge confidently. Thinking, if I can't, who can? If I can't, who can? I got the engineering education, experience, skills. If I can't, who can solve this problem? Then you can solve this problem. After solving the problem, be very humble to say. After solving the problem, be humble to say. After winning, be humble enough to say, if I can, who can't? Which means your obligation to share the knowledge with your peers. Empower your peers. Empower your subordinates. That is your role, my dear friends, as engineers. Be humble enough to share the knowledge. I'm just rushing through these pictures. Who are responsible? Don't blame the technicians. Electrical engineers, such as I, we are responsible. Who is responsible? No, the utility engineers or the engineers of the municipality. It's Column Fort, right? Why did they allow this building to stand like that? Regulation, building regulation. Yeah, civil engineers are there. Where is this? Dhaka, the worst, one of the worst ever engine disasters. Okay, one thing I'll tell you is Bangladesh, right? We have come from Bengal, West Bengal, Sri Lanka, right? See the number of people around, just looking and waiting, right? This is China. And this has come up in a weekend paper as a joke. Soon after this, I saw this. Where is this? Dharanegala Bridge. And Hulandao Bridge next. Couple of days ago. We can't have, but look at the number of people watching. Right? So I'll only close with this. If technologists and technicians try to do the job of engineers, this may happen, which means supervision until the end. Design perfection. Solving complex problems is our job. But are we prepared to face the challenge? Can we confidently say that we engineers in Sri Lanka will not let this happen? Disaster. Unfortunately, things are started happening. We had a very good track record. Now things are failing. Be careful. Can ISL assure that our chartered engineers are in a position to avoid this kind of disasters? The answer is in your hand. So I'll not go into the public policy section. I'll stop at this. That's the last slide, right? For public policy. Last slide. I'll leave you with a nice picture. He innocent as a child, but he ready to punch the right place. Which accepted the challenge of becoming chartered engineer. So keep up to that. Thank you. Any questions from the online or there are two guys? Yeah, we are there. Oh, there are 32 guys are there, I am sure. So anybody wants to raise a question from the audience? You are free to raise.
Actually, don't have any questions. That's a great one. Thank you very much.
Happy, you're welcome. Anybody else would like to give a response or ask a question? I hope you gained something, right? But keep everything in your mind. That's all I'm going to tell you. I try to speak about your profession, my profession, and I try to relate to most of my own experiences. Unfortunately, time is too short, so we have to stop. Good night, everybody. Okay.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Night, sir. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
I didn't see you face to face. I'm so sorry. Anyway, you can always write to me. And if you have any questions, send me an email. It's very simple. Shavindranath. SHAVINDRANATH. Shavindranath @gmail.com. Right? I'll reply you. Okay? If any questions or any things that you are not very clear with, give your own suggestions that might improve my own presentation. Shavindranath, just Shavindranath@gmail.com. Okay. Good night. I'll end for all. Okay.